Welcome to Rich Conversations. This is another edition of Rich Answers, where I answer questions provided to me by past guests of the podcast. And today we have questions from Sarah Omoike from Lagos, Nigeria. She's a software engineer. She was on episode 192. Fantastic person. Wonderful conversation that we had. And she provided 4 good ones. 3, and then the 4th one was meta. What one question do you wish I would have asked? How would have you answered? But let's get to that last. Number 1, if you won $10 million tomorrow, what will you spend it on? That's a lot of money. And I think any large sum of money that I would happen upon, I pretty much know, I think, what I would do with it. And that's, I would just invest it into all the projects I have. Like throwing lighter fluid on all of them. And I haven't announced this yet, so I'm going to do it here. I started a new organization called the Quantum School. And it's teaching the ability to teleport and use our cognitive abilities to, it's egoless education. It's education that I've kind of followed, that I've created for myself, and I want to implement it in all over. So I would invest money in that organization. Also, Rich Conversations. I would upgrade all of our equipment. I would hire several different people, and we would just go travel the world and just do these conversations in person. Because I learned so much. Like Sarah, I talk about our conversation quite a bit to people, and I'm so fascinated by Lagos and Nigeria and what's going on there. We definitely visit you if I happen upon $10 million tomorrow. But most of all, I want to invest in talent. I want to invest in people and develop their talent and just work together collaboratively to create a brighter, to create stronger communities and a brighter future all across the world. That's what I would do with it. I would invest in great people. So that's number 1. Number 2, what underrated tools are indispensable for your job? Now, number 1 tool is right here, right? That's the best tool, and I use it quite a bit. Now, you said underrated. A tool that I use these iPhones a lot. So I'm recording this on an iPhone. I'm using the audio on an iPhone 8, and I'm using an iPad. So I'm using a lot of Apple products. What I love is that I can just sync everything together and just paint it and just do that. Whereas before this, it's been an evolution of the podcast, especially in person. And, we would have lighting. We got some great lights, some pretty cheap lights. There's a lot of tools that are cheap that you can, that I've used quite a bit. And we used to have 3 DSLR cameras, but then you would have to take the SD card and then upload them to here. But then eventually they all have to make their way to my MacBook or, iPad or something like that. So it's cool to have it all ready. It's so mobile, and that's what I love because I don't see myself. I think that's why I started doing these, is because I hate recording actually in my apartment. I just hate it. So I like being out and about, and right now I'm recording this in Lincoln Station, great restaurant in Chicago in Lincoln Park, and I'm actually recording this before my shift tonight. So here I am. And as far as underrated tools, it's kind of what you would expect, right? I'm sure you experience this. If you have a computer and an internet connection, you can do a whole lot. You can do an incredible amount. And And then also, like I mentioned before with the iPhones, I use it simply as a tool. Like when I was in college, I remember I had like a separate digital camera, a separate phone, a separate iPod to listen to music. Now they're all infused into one, and that's how I pretty much use it. And voice memos, right? That's probably the tool I use the most that's underrated is the app voice memos in Apple products. 'Cause I'm recording this now with it, but like if I go sign up for a phone plan or something, they're pushing. What I realize is that like I use phones differently than the general population. So what's kind of promoted at stores is like you get all this playback time. Your battery life is really good, and I don't use my phone to watch stuff. I don't really use it to scroll. I don't really scroll on apps. I simply use it as a tool, like you had said. So those are a few tools. Pen and paper is a great one too. Very underrated tool these days, right? Number 3, what's your morning routine like? So we had another Rich Answers that asked this question. So this is what I do. I don't set alarm clocks. I just wake up when my body wakes me up, and typically it's between 6 and 8 hours of sleep. I'm so excited for my morning routine that I will go to bed early, or like I'll wake up in the middle of the night so excited, and I actually get like some terrible sleep sometimes because that excitement, I just want to get up and just do it. So I wake up, and then I have whole beans, coffee, so I grind those, then I use a French press. So as I wait for the coffee and the beans to, marinate together in the French press, I meditate for 10 minutes. I don't necessarily like meditating, but I can tell the difference when I do it and when I don't do it. And then doing this, now the morning routine has evolved over the years, but before, I've been meditating, I would say, for like 3 years, every day. But the morning routine, it went from probably like, I should have a morning routine, to now like taking up 3 to 5 hours of my morning at a time. So we meditate for 10 minutes, then we pour the coffee, and then the first thing we do is read philosophy, the Daily Stoic. It's just like one page, and it like, gets your mind going in the right place, and it sets a tone of what you're going to aspire for the day and in life as well. Because we're working on this long-term, your life is long-term, right? But you can take steps every single day, and that every day starts with your morning, right? For most people. So then, now the last time I recorded this about my morning routine, I was reading the Art Institute Essentials. So I'd read like about 2 objects or pieces of art in the Art Institute to like better educate myself on it. But this morning, for the first time in a while, for the first time, I like started reading poetry. So I was reading poetry this morning, and then I journal. So I journal between 20 minutes to an hour, and then from the coffee, I get my head's a little buzzing, and I need to do something. So then I go, we have this like fitness center. I live in a high rise, and it's in the bottom, just like some basic stuff, some dumbbells and some racks and stuff. So I'll do that, and then I'll go upstairs. I live on the 9th floor. So I walk up the stairs, sometimes run if I'm feeling ambitious, and I start making oatmeal. So I set a timer for 12 minutes. Then I just go up and down the stairs, get some good cardio going, I suppose. And then I put on a record, some vinyl records. Today was L'Impératrice, which is like this French kind of dance pop group that I actually saw on Monday, the 11th, with Justina Wynn and her boyfriend Aaron Olson, and I bought the vinyl, so I've been listening to that, and that's the first time I bring out my computer, and I make oatmeal and eggs, and I look over the box scores of whatever sport's going on at the time, like regular season. So right now it's baseball, so I check all the baseball things, and then I kind of take a nap. Sometimes it's a long routine, and that's kind of what I do. And then when I wake up from the nap, then I start over and I get a bunch of work done. So that's kind of the morning routine right now, but I'm always tweaking it, and it didn't start this elaborate. It started as like, I want to better myself. I need to do certain things. If I do certain things, I think doing them every day will help. And so even just like starting off with 5 minutes, and then you see the results in yourself, or you feel it. You feel a difference when you go through this morning routine, whatever it may be for you. And you just want to do more and more and more of it. So I'm excited. And I think it took a next step when I went to Miami last year. So now I'm actually going to Miami pretty soon. And what I loved last year, because I would just kind of like do the routine and I would jump into whatever I had to work on for that day. But on like vacation, I just let my mind wander. So I just implemented that back into the routine, and it's been pretty great. You know, like, we're human beings and we should be, and I have found that like by taking that approach, I'm actually more productive in a way, and I'm a lot more precise in the actions I take. I don't waste much time during the day. Like, everything I do is pretty intentional. So and that starts with the morning routine and just setting a good spot for myself to start. So I'd be curious what your routine is too. Okay, number 4. What's one question you wish I'd asked you? How would you have answered? So I was Googling like interesting questions or good questions. They're really like not good. So I'm glad on the podcast we typically ask, great questions, insightful questions to provoke thoughtful answers. One I saw that kind of stuck out with me was when was the last time you did something that you regret, or like something about regret? Do you have any regrets? And I would say no. Like, I think that's a difference between myself and a lot of other people, is like, it's not to say I've never done things that I regret, right? But it's like, I find it so unproductive and so like to dwell on anything that happened in the past. You can't change what happened in the past. And without that event and you having, say, that regret, you might not be where you are now, or you might not think or have a certain perspective that you do now. So everything together has made you who you are. And if you take out one little link of that, it can change everything. So in that sense, like, sometimes I've like journal about this. It's like, I don't look back. I very, very rarely do I look back. And when I do, it's usually only to extract something from it, from memories, like a lesson or an experience. It's like, oh, I need to do this. Well, I did something similar in the past. How did I do that? And I apply concepts or like apply the same experience into my life now. So I don't live with regrets, and I don't know if a lot of people can say that, but I know, like, on my deathbed, if I'm lucky to be like on a deathbed, because that would mean you lived a long life. Like, I don't want to have any regrets, and so far I don't. Also, I feel like going back to the routine a little bit, I'm a pretty fundamentally sound person. So, and what that allows you to do, if you have great fundamentals, you don't make a lot of poor decisions that you would regret. So it's also making sure that you have the right mindset where you're not gonna put yourself in bad situations. So, Sarah, thank you so much for those questions, and thank you for inspiring the last one as well. Again, Sarah's episode 192. I talk about it a lot, and I got to get to Lagos. I really want to go to Nigeria and explore. It sounds like it's such a growing and inspired population, and I'm so excited to see the growth of it. I think by the 22nd century, like, Nigeria is gonna like be such a crucial part of like the global world. They are already, of course, but like I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So those are our questions today. This has been Rich Answers. Thank you for watching and listening.